on Mike Drop Sports. We appreciate you. George Pickens is gone, whether you like it or not, whether you think it's a bonehead move or not. He's gone. He's absolutely out. George Pickens being traded to the Dallas Cowboys for a third-round pick. That was the compensation. Yeah, there's some pick swaps of future picks in 2027. You have a sixth-round pick that the Steelers will get. The Dallas Cowboys will get the sixth, and the Steelers will get the Dallas Cowboys fifth-round pick. Tons going on there with that kind of stuff, but the compensation may have not been exactly what you've wanted it to be or what you were looking for it to be. But again, nonetheless, we're going to dive into what this trade means, what it could possibly mean going forward, what is the immediate impact, and how does this football team now navigate through and find somebody else to bring in for this roster. And we'll go through some of the available wide receiver targets that are still out there. And we're going to talk about some of the issues of George Pickens. And I know a lot of people won't want to hear it, but we will. And again, a lot of people are crashed out, screaming, throwing their Steeler fan tantrums of, I won't support this team. I'm not watching anymore because they did this. Take that on somewhere, man. It's football. It's a business. This is a business. Football is a business, and there are business moves made. And you're going to agree with some of those moves. You're not going to agree with some of those moves. But all in all, this is still the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is still a franchise in my eyes, regardless of where George Pickens plays in 2025, that can win 10 football games. Guaranteed. I really do believe that. Yes, they're going to have a difficult schedule. Absolutely, they will. But all in all, this franchise definitely can still be competitive. And I still believe DK Metcalf better to be than George Pickens. So, again, we're going to go through all of that. And, again, thank you for joining us for a midday edition of Steel City Live here on Mike Drop Sports. Make sure you're smacking the shit out of that like button. Make sure you're sharing the show. And if you're not subscribed, we truly appreciate that. Tons of content already today for us here at Mike Drop Sports. I did a pre-recorded video. I've already put that out. I made a guest appearance on Steelers Almighty for a reaction over there. And now we are here, and then we will be back again tonight for another live show. So we're going to give everybody an opportunity to dive into the chat and give their comments, questions, and concerns regarding this trade. And really discuss that. Memberships are always open, 99 cents a month for those, and also super chats are always open, and we truly appreciate your support of the channel. What's up, DJ? What's up, Big JD in the house? What's up, Extra Black? Yes, true. When one door closes, another opens. That's absolutely a correct thing to say, no doubt about it. And you can talk about the free agents that are out there. DJ says no Aaron for sure, no Aaron Rodgers for sure. I don't necessarily think that to be the case. Maybe it does play into it some way, somehow. Absolutely it could. If I were Aaron Rodgers, I'd be disappointed in that. But there are other players out there that possibly could come in and still fill out that wide receiver room. And again, DK Metcalf is better than George Pickens. Absolutely. And we got to really look at this from a production standpoint. If you're looking at this statistically, not putting in the quarterback bullshit, not putting in any of the offensive coordinator stuff, none of the head coach stuff, none of those factors. Take all the factors out of there and simply look at production for George Pickens. If you do those things, if you look at that, exactly that, you find that George Pickens is a guy that scored 12 touchdowns in 3 years. You find that George Pickens is a guy that's only had one season with over 1,000 yards receiving. The other one, 800. The other one, 900. Not wide receiver one type numbers. He hasn't put those up. And again, you can blame a lot of external factors for that, but the stats are the stats, whether you want to admit it or not. The stats are the stats, and they are what they are. And George Pickens does not produce at a wide receiver one. I'm just saying he doesn't. So again, that right there, that factor in my eyes has to be taken into consideration. And again, we can all say it's a bonehead move. We can all say that, we don't understand this. But I got to be honest, guys. When you're running an organization that's worth billions of dollars, There isn't moves made without some sort of plan in place, some sort of logic behind your moves. And I still believe this could end up being one of the worst moves on Omar Khan's opinion, but I got to give it to you from every side. I got to give you all of it. I just can't be partial into maybe what I believe deep down in my head. I got to give you everything about the move. So, again, this could potentially be a bad move, but we got to talk about this too. Maybe this was the wrong time for this trade. I think you still could have maybe made a trade during the draft. Maybe nobody was offering you the compensation that you wanted. But I think that would have been a more timely place to execute the trade. Also, I believe maybe holding on to him throughout the summer and allowing him to play may have increased his value before the trade deadline to maybe give you something else in terms of what you got in return. But I also want to talk about the 12 picks that the Steelers have. 3 picks being in the 3rd round of the NFL draft next year. And they don't have to spend that in the draft next year, guys. The Steelers could be preparing for another trade here this offseason. But again, the opportunities and the possibilities are still endless for this football team. JD asks, who do we get now? Your thoughts? That's the big question. We can go over the NFL free agents that still remain out there. Keenan Allen out on the market. We talked about that earlier over on Steelers Almighty, that possibility he does not want to come over to the East Coast. That's what Big B was saying, that maybe he had said that. So maybe that's something that, hinders that type of move. You have Amari Cooper, a guy that was getting, $20 million a year. He last played in Buffalo, but maybe he was more of a money type move, getting rid of him, and maybe he could come into Pittsburgh and still be productive like he once was. When he was with Dallas, a monster. But Amari Cooper, rumored to also be similar to George Pickens in his behavior. So maybe that's a problem. Maybe that's somebody you don't want to go with. Gabe Davis, a guy limited in his route tree, a guy that sometimes doesn't have that consistency. And what kills NFL players more than anything, guys? Lack of consistency. That gets you up out of the league quicker than anything. And that is lack of consistency. If you don't have the ability to play at a consistently good level, you're not going to be around long. The splash plays are one thing. And you've seen players that have had splash plays here and there get out of teams. Why? Because they don't provide enough consistency to make it worth paying, to make it worth taking up a roster spot, to make that player have that value. And that is very true. Nelson Aguilar, DJ Shark, Tyler Boyd, Brandon Powell, Chris Conley, Jamison Crowder, Deontay Hardy, Gunnar Olszewski, Allen Robinson, Malik Taylor. There's tons of guys out there that you could go get. But it's just that. It's guys. Is there anybody on this list that's eye-popping? Yeah, Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, Gabe Davis. I believe those 3 guys could really contribute if you brought them in here. Perhaps even a Tyler Boyd to bring him in here at a cheap deal to finish out his career to play for his hometown team. A guy from the Clairton Bears, man, a historical high school out of the city of Pittsburgh. Well, the outskirts of the city of Pittsburgh. So how does that all tie in? Again, we'll talk about that. We're going to answer a lot of your questions. We're going to talk about what George Pickens does wrong in terms of his behavior, all those things. Daniel Werman, now that Pickens is gone, Calvin Austin, Muth, and Washington better step up. That will be even better. Yeah, they're all going to have to step up, absolutely. When you make a subtraction substantial enough to, like a George Pickens, you got to have guys that are going to step up, and you got to have confidence in them as a franchise. If you don't, you're definitely in trouble. Good to see you, Daniel. Extra Black says, I really see no reason to spend big money on Aaron at this moment. As to Pickens, as the saying goes, addition by subtraction. And that could very well possibly be addition by subtraction. And this team can still be really good. This roster is still better with even the subtraction of a George Pickens. But guys, any good football team has to have a group of fellas in that building that want to be there, that want to be part of a team, that know how to act like an adult, that know how to bite their lip, that know how to put their head down and grind and not worry about their self above the team. And George Pickens didn't do that. And that is truth. And that is reality. Guys, the Steelers had players assigned to him on the sideline to make sure that he didn't get in arguments with fans. Is that not something that really strikes a nerve with you as a fan? Excuse me, guys. I'm still dealing with this cold. I had a family night last night, but that was part of the reason that I didn't do a show last night because this cold kind of sucks. But again, they have the major distraction part of George Pickens out there for everybody to see. Everybody knows that he was a distraction. Did he go out there and get arrested? No. Did he go out and do crazy things? No. But still, you want a guy in the building that is there to work, a guy that's there to put himself last and the team first. That's what you're looking for. And you look at some of the draft picks that the Pittsburgh Steelers made this year. And I'm only using them as an example because they're so fresh into it. But Will Howard, Jack Sawyer, going on Channel 7 with Ben Roethlisberger, talking about how they wanted to be a Pittsburgh Steeler, how you saw that in their pre-draft videos where people were taking videos of them talking and them discussing things with their family. And they wanted to be drafted by the Steelers. They spoke that. And that wasn't prompted because they had already been drafted by the Steelers. They were talking about it with family and friends, and they let it be known that that was a place that they wanted to be. And that has to be something you take into consideration, guys. People that want to be in that building, and Mike Tomlin uses that analogy or whatever you want to call it, that saying all the time. He does not want hostages. He wants people that are willing to be there and want to be there and are going to give you their all. And guys, if you're forcing people to stay in the building, if guys are disgruntled and it's an ongoing thing, it's just not like a one-off, like I'm pissed about something, but I'll get over it type thing, or we'll work through it. If it's not one of those one-off type things, you got to make sure maybe you get that person up out of the building. And that may be the reason. And I don't agree with this move. I don't like this move. I think this move was stupid in my eyes. But again, I don't have to like the move for it to make sense. And I don't have to like the move for the Steelers to have made the right one. Who am I to say whether it's right or wrong? I can give you my opinion, but nobody's going to know how this move works its way out until we see what happens with George Pickens down in Dallas, how the Steelers are able to navigate this and add back to that wide receiver room. Once thought this offseason to be one of the league's most deadly wide receiver combinations, and George Pickens and DK Metcalf, now not a thing. So how do the Steelers handle this? How do they fix this? And does it need fixed? That's the thing. How often do you see Arthur Smith come out in 4 or 5 wide receiver sets? Not often. But again, he does what? He loves tight ends. So, maybe it was something that, hey, we got our top flight guy. He's better than George. His name's DK Metcalf. We paid him a bag. We're going to invest in other areas of this team, and we're going to make another addition somewhere down the line by the subtraction of George Pickens. Mark Malone says, the quarterback barely threw for 12 yards. Yeah, or 12 TDs. Yes. True. No doubt about it. But I'm talking over George's whole career. With the Steelers, 3 years, 12 touchdowns. That's not a ton. Steeler Lee, based on character, they believed Austin was more valuable to keep over Pickens. None of us know if that's the case, Steeler Lee. I value your comment, and I could see why you say it. But none of us truly know what went on in there. Nobody knows that. So if anybody wants to sit here and act like they do from like other podcasts and stuff, they don't know. No one truly knows. Now, later on down the road, I would say that you probably hear of something that comes out that was the major deciding factor on how they felt about George and why they got him up out of there. But again, what has happened with Steeler wide receivers that have been good Steeler wide receivers? What has happened to them when they've went elsewhere? Does the same thing happen with George Pickens? We don't know. Time will tell. A.K. Davis in the house. I don't like the trade, but if they waited, a team may have had an injury and had been desperate enough to offer a second. I agree, AK. I think that that's the biggest take that I'm getting out of this in terms of what I feel was the worst part of the trade was the timing. I believe there was better times that you could have did it to maybe possibly increase your value. And that being said, again, we don't know what was going on in that building, guys. We don't know exactly what was really transpiring between George, his representation in the Pittsburgh Steelers. We don't know what was said after the DK Metcalf acquisition. None of us really truly know, but there has to be something inside of there that has forced the hand of the Pittsburgh Steelers to do this at a less than opportune time. That's the real issue here. Extra Black says Steelers only got a fifth rounder back for AB, who was way better, and the same for Santonio Holmes, a fifth rounder. Absolutely true. So, yeah, if you look at it that way, they got way more than what they've gotten in the past. Mark Malone, they were trying during the draft, supposedly, but Dallas was looking to acquire another player. It fell through, and Dallas called back. Yeah, that could have very well been. And I'm sure, Mark, there was tons of conversations going on, amongst a ton of different people and a ton of different teams for many different players. So no doubt things can definitely take a drastic turn and not end up happening the way you would want them to happen. But in my eyes, if that were to fall through, which it did, I would have probably waited closer to week 8 toward that trade deadline, or waited, like AK said, if a team became desperate for a top flight wide receiver. I believe I would have probably tried to wait for that situation to develop before I would have jumped the gun and did it here in the offseason early. I think that, again, there might have been better places to do this trade. Kodak, what up, Jay? How we doing today? Quick Mic Drop Sports Live. I honestly believe Omar was fed up with him and not willing to pay him after paying DK Metcalf. And here's the thing with paying the people. Good to see you, Kodak. They could have paid him. They could have franchised him. They could have controlled him for 3 years if they wanted to without paying him a legit contract, like a long-term contract. They could have done all those things. They have the available resources financially to pay him if they wanted to, because they don't carry an exuberant quarterback salary at this time. So, yes, they could have done those things. And that should tell you a little bit more about George Pickens, that the Steelers did have the available resources and the options to keep George Pickens on this team by really any means necessary if they really wanted to do it either way. Give him a contract or just hold on to him and franchise him and do it that way. They could have done it either way, and that should tell you something. When they're not willing to do it, they let him go. I do like Gabe Davis. If that was Arthur, their plan all along, they didn't get Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp didn't want to play here, Daniel. That's the thing. Cooper Kupp wanted to stay on the West. About that, a little glitch. But sorry, guys. Cooper Kupp, sometimes players don't want to play in certain geographical areas of the country. And I say that why? Because they don't. They want to stay near a home place, a place they grew up or a place they're from. They want to stay in a nicer weather. They're not into going clean across the country because of family and things. There are a lot of variables at play here, so definitely some players just don't want to do it. And that may be the reason Keenan Allen wouldn't be an option, Alan Lazard is reportedly in play for you guys, by the way, of Diana Rossini. Yeah, Alan Lazard could be definitely an option. The Steelers could probably give a 7th round, 6th round pick for Lazard, take on that renegotiated contract that they got in place in New Jersey with Lazard, and that could be something. What I really worry about here is the Aaron Rodgers effect, that if he is coming, I don't want him to dictate the roster. It's like, buddy, if you want to come here and play football, you play with the people that we're going to give you. I'm not comfortable as a fan, and I don't think the organization should be comfortable as an organization to allow anybody like Aaron Rodgers to make any type of an executive decision, because that didn't work out well for him in New Jersey. That's just my personal belief on that matter. All right, guys, this is a special edition of Steel City Live here, a midday edition. We appreciate you for stopping through. Make sure you're double tapping that screen to hit the like button. Make sure you're sharing. And if you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe to us us here. It's been a day full of content already, man. It's been busy, man, this offseason. Between the draft, between this going on, several other things, we've done a lot of talking. So it's definitely been an interesting offseason so far, and we're going to continue to dive into this or wide receiver situation in the trade of one George Pickens to the Dallas Cowboys for a third-round pick in 2026 and a pick swap with the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2027, as the Steelers will get the Dallas Cowboys' fifth-round pick and the Dallas Cowboys will receive the Steelers' sixth-round pick. And let's take a look here before we dive back into the chat about what the Steelers have available to them in 2026. Yeah, extra black. Rock Taylor could be a surprise. I said that on Steelers Almighty earlier. Is that something they have high hope for? Is he a sleeper that nobody's anticipating being good? You know, Rock Taylor, definitely my most exciting player to watch in the undrafted free agent rookie class for the Steelers. So definitely that could have been something that definitely comes into play. But again, if you look at the Steelers in 2026 and what they have available to them in terms of draft capital, you look at the Steelers, they have 12 picks, man. 3 third-round picks, guys. That's a substantial haul. And do the Steelers want to move up for a quarterback? I don't think they know that just yet. And I don't think they're going to be willing to separate with massive amounts of draft capital here in 2025 in order to gain the services of another wide receiver. I think and truly believe that they spend some of the lesser value stuff and bring somebody in, perhaps like an Allen Lazard. Maybe they get a Gabe Davis. Maybe they get an Amari Cooper or a Keenan Allen off of the free agency market. Those players are still available. Maybe perhaps they make a trade for an offensive lineman or something. Maybe they use some of that draft capital for that. But guys, they're not going to draft 12 players in 2026. So you know they're going to spend some of this draft capital. So that should tell you another thing, that the Steelers aren't done making moves here in 2025. These moves are going to continue to happen. And I can guarantee you this. There will be several more additions to this football team before it's all said and done, before they head into Latrobe. And some of them may end up being substantial moves. I think that's yet to be determined. But the Steelers will make some moves. I can guarantee you that. And guys, when we were talking about this George Pickens trade months ago we were talking about this. And everybody talking about, we could get a first or we could get a second. I told you then, and I stand behind it now. And we saw what happened. I said third was probably your best. Guys, you're paying George, or you're getting George in a trade if you're the Dallas Cowboys or any other team. You're getting George Pickens on a trade for potential, not production. And again, you can blame that on 1,000,001 things, but George's numbers are George's numbers, whether we want to look at it that way or not. That's the truth. So, yeah. Let me get a little sip of drink. What's up, Self-Made SM? This means that Aaron won't be coming here. I don't think you're right there. I disagree. I could see why you say it, because definitely that's a big piece. But I disagree with him not wanting to come here just because of George Pickens. George Pickens, guys, doesn't hold that much weight. You're giving him too much credit, guys. You're giving him too much power. His market value is that, not of that. Mark says, aside from A-Rod, we've already made our moves. I disagree with that too, Mark. I still think there's going to be moves made. They're going to probably, I'm going to say this, guys, 9 times out of 10, they're going to probably add to that wide receiver room again. Whether that be a big name or not, you're going to get one of these available guys probably on the market. Is Lockett even still out there? Maybe he's even out there. No, but you're going to get a guy like a Gabe Davis, a Shark, a Tyler Boyd. That's just my opinion, and just continue to watch and see. But I definitely think they pick one of those guys up off of the free agency market. So I don't think the moves are done. I think maybe some of the major moves are done, yes. But I still think there's a few moves left in Omar Khan in this Pittsburgh Steelers franchise ahead of 2025. Timmy Turner, Muth has been our number 2 for years. Not really, Timmy. I think I disagree with you there also. the production doesn't scream number two to you, does it? At all. There were games that Freiermuth targeted one time. I don't think you could justify that as the number two target. They significantly underutilized Pat Freiermuth. So for us to call Pat Freiermuth the number two is just to say it. There's no numbers or anything to back that up. No production of any sort to back that up. What do you think about them firing Mike Tomlin and why they did it? They didn't fire Mike Tomlin, whatever your name is, hell of a John. Damn, so GP is actually gone. Yep, he's gone. Daniel Orman, teams actually cut quality players due to salary cap issues. There will be a good available wide receiver. Yeah, there's a lot of options in terms of what could happen from here on out. Cut downs, things of that nature. They're going to add to that room somewhere. Whether they have to make trade for that player or they just pick them up, they're going to make a move for somebody else. Steeler Lee, seems like Juju and to a small extent, AB have been the most successful outside of Pittsburgh. AB really didn't do anything. He scored a touchdown with Tom Brady. That was about it. Other than that, he did absolutely nothing outside of Pittsburgh. Juju would happen to be probably the most productive, except for Santonio Holmes. He was productive with the New York Jets. Definitely productive with them. So, outside of Juju and Santonio Holmes, I don't see any other Steeler wide receiver that was a big name in Pittsburgh that has moved on to do anything really big. AB didn't do anything. He scored again, one touchdown with Tom Brady, maybe two. And that was all he did. Wait, no, I take that back. He went and played for Tom Brady in Tampa. I apologize. I forgot about that. So he did win a Super Bowl. So I guess you could call that successful also. I forgot about that, guys. My apologies. I totally forgot about that time period. But that just tells me one thing, that he wasn't a significant contributor. It's easily for me to forget that you won a Super Bowl with one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever suit up. That tells me you probably weren't like a major contributor to that Super Bowl ring. And then walking off like he did kind of, I forgot about that too, that crazy thing. My apologies, guys. I forgot about that. GP going to be like DA goes to a team worse than team he was on. Mel Mills, obviously George became too great of a problem. We have seen this before. Every wide receiver traded or let walk has been a problem or even cut by the next team. They took what they could get, win. You can look at it that way, Mel Mills, and that's not a bad way to look at it either. Jamal McCullum, man, F the Steelers. This franchise makes the worst decisions. We're right back to square one. Shaking my effing head. That was stupid. I'm so pissed. I could see why fans say that. I definitely can. But I can see the other side of it too, guys. And I could see definitely why there's a possibility that it was done. Guys, you cannot have disruptions inside of a locker room. And I know a lot of people will say, ignore it. You can only ignore it for so long. And let's be real honest. If Mike Tomlin doesn't want you around, a guy that's friends with everybody, every player, he's buddy with every player. If Mike Tomlin don't want you around, there's something going on deep-rooted in there, man. And there's something that none of us know. None of us. No people that claim to be insiders. Nobody that claims that even knows. I'm telling you. There's something deep-rooted. What's up, sleeping lady? Miss Pittsburgh, waving that terrible towel. Good to see it. Dallas hit a big lick today. Maybe you meant luck. Unbelievable from Sleeping Lady. From Miss Pittsburgh, Sleeping Lady says, wow, I just knew it. Attitude is everything. Pickens has been too quiet this offseason. Writing was on the wall. Yeah, I mean, this has been talked about for quite some time. Absolutely, no doubt about it. I didn't think it was going to happen after we'd made it through the draft because I thought that was the most opportune time to make a move. Jonathan Harvey, Pittsburgh should have got a higher pick. Then again, a third might have been negotiable more than a second. Going to miss Pickens. Hope wide receiver 2 is better than George. Guys, I told you this, Jonathan, a long time ago, if you watch this channel, that George Pickens did not hold a second-round value. Now, maybe if you'd have did what I thought they should have did was wait and traded him maybe sometime before the trade deadline hit, after maybe he was able to produce and increase his value in some way. If that was something you were interested in, I think you could have got maybe a higher pick for him. Or what AK had brought up earlier, maybe a team got desperate. But those are a lot of what ifs, man. Those are a lot of guesses. So maybe again, the Steelers did say to themselves, this might be the best we get. Why roll the dice and potentially lose out on a third round pick for just 1 round better, a second round pick? It's still a day 2 pick, guys. It's not a day 1 pick that you were going to get for George Pickens. So a day 2 pick is a day 2 pick. Yes, I would have liked it to been in round 2, but with the significant amounts of draft capital that the Steelers have going into 2026, you can expect them to be major players inside of the draft in 2026. You can expect them to jump up in rounds to get players that they want, because they're not going to draft 12 players, guys. I keep trying to mention that because I don't want people to think they're going to go out there and make 12 draft picks. They're not. Mark Malone says, God, hopefully they don't move up for some bust quarterback. That could definitely happen. No doubt, Mark. That may be what they are gearing up for. DJ Thomas, if Mason or Will work out, the Steelers can literally do a full rebuild without a full rebuild. Plus, if our current quarterbacks don't work out, we could give up the 12 picks if we have to get the right quarterback. Yeah, you could give up significant draft capital, no doubt, to move up. But here's another thing that really could play into the Steelers' favor. With 3 third-round picks, that is something you could do. You could really flop a whole position group if you wanted to with young and exciting players. You definitely can do that. But the Steelers, again, aren't going to make 12 picks. But you could if you needed to, if you wanted to rebuild a whole position group if you had to. But what if these quarterbacks work out? What if one of them hit? Oh, excuse me, guys. Sorry. I just ate a shitload of queso loaded with jalapenos after I did the show earlier with Big B. So now I'm like burping up jalapenos. But anyway, what if they do hit? Now the Steelers are all of a sudden in a prime position to do what, guys? Add significant high-value pieces at position groupings like wide receiver, like the offensive line, like the trenches, like cornerback. Dude, they can make some moves that would absolutely knock your socks off. Say they do get smart and just say, Will, go see if you can play. Mason, we love you, my brother. If Will fails, we'll bring you in. But we want to see what Will Howard got before the 2026 draft. We want to see whether or not he could potentially be our guy. And I know that's a lofty thing to put on a 6th-round pick, but again, I think he was underdrafted. I think he was way overlooked. But we'll see how this all transpires. So if Will Howard comes in there, lights the world on fire, wins the job, and now all of a sudden is the Pittsburgh Steelers starter and potential long-term answer at the position, man, are you in a good place. Guys, you are in a place that no other team is in. And I that may be something that happens. And that may be a gamble by the con artist that he's willing to take. Maybe that is what's going to happen, guys. So remember, you heard that theory here at Mike Drop Sports. Maybe that is how they do it. Because the Steelers could be in a sick place, bro. We'll miss him. He's a hell of a player. That's from Miss Pittsburgh DMB. Let's go. He is gone. Yes, sir. Sleeping lady. He was drafted in the 2nd round. Seems like we should have gotten that back. It seems like that. You would have wanted that back. No doubt about it. That's what you would have wanted. But, reality of his production, his value wasn't that, and that's the sad part of it. George Pickens didn't get to that value as a number 1 wide receiver target. Yep, 1 year left on his deal, so that was another thing that could have been a contribution to this. Thomas Warrington, I'm glad he's done with us. Nathan McDonald, well, the tank is on. Guys, Nathan, I respect you, my brother, but the Steelers never tank. They have never tanked ever in franchise history on purpose. They will never, ever tank on purpose, ever. That is not a tank, dude. I gotta really 1000% disagree with you there. I think that is just a frustration comment on your part, and I can see why you're frustrated, man. I sympathize with it. I feel the same things, but that is a comment that is made in being pissed, and that's all right. We're allowed those. We're allowed to flip out. We're allowed to crash out. We're allowed to do those things as fans. And again, the Steelers are not tanking, guys. Do not get that in your head. That will never happen. Now, I can see them maybe not adding anything extra and just standing pat. I could see that, but never a tank job. You got to try to tank, and you really got to show that you're trying to tank. Mark Malone can't give up the high draft capital and have to pay a big contract. For who? I'm not sure who you mean on that one, Mark. Let me know, buddy. I'll try to catch it up. Oh, man, that sounds good, Mark. I'll be down for that. What's up, Joe Vlogs? Miss Pittsburgh. Well, the Cowboys did something right finally. Did something, yeah. Yeah, potentially. Again, guys, the Cowboys have traded for George Pickens on potential, not production. So we can't sit here and say that they did something right. This guy had 12 touchdowns over 3 years, guys. That's like 4 in a season, 5 in a season, 3 last year. Guys, that's not a lot of touchdowns. That's not a lot of production. The guy only eclipsed 1,000 yards once. He had 800 one year. He had 900 another year. That doesn't scream $33 million per season to you, does it? I'm asking. Take all the other factors out of it. His numbers are his numbers. And that doesn't scream $33 million or second round pick to you. That doesn't scream those things. DMB, let's go get Isaiah Bond. He still didn't get picked up. I tried contacting him, but I don't have Twitter. Who do you have? Isaiah Bond? He never got picked up by anybody? That's crazy. I didn't know that. Maybe he gets picked up by somebody. Who knows? Nathan says the front office has no direction. I think there is direction, Nathan. I'll disagree with that one, too. And again, I respect your comments, brother. I'm not trying to dog you. I just disagree. I think there is a direction. I just don't think we know about it. And I don't think the Steelers want to announce exactly what they're doing. But I can guarantee you this. There is some sort of plan in place. This is chess. This ain't checkers. And this isn't a video game, guys. This isn't you building a Madden team. This isn't just, us as fans building the fantasy team. And I think that's what a lot of us feel like nowadays with all the gambling and the fantasy stuff going on. We go off a lot of things that, don't matter sometimes. There's some things that do matter, and it's character, work ethic. Can you handle yourself as an adult on an NFL level? Those types of things that matter. A team shouldn't have to deploy other players to babysit you on the sideline of an NFL football game in the National Football League. I'm sorry. And if that's the case, and if that's what's going down as you're a player in the National Football League, then I think there's a problem. I think you have a real issue. I think that you're not ready for the money that you're about to receive or the potential opportunity to have generational wealth. I don't think you're ready for that. And again, George Pickens had 3 seasons to straighten his ass out, and he didn't. And that's on George. So George has to shoulder some of that blame. And George has shown you himself that he hasn't been ready to take that wide receiver 1 role, because George is more caring about George and his numbers than he's caring about, hey, I got to make this block down the field. Hey, I can't take this play off. I can't go half-ass on this play. I can't cost my team and my quarterback an interception in a game against the league's best team. I can't do those things, but yet he did. He did, and those are reality. I'm not saying this trade was a good trade, but I'm going to look at it from every angle. I am. Yeah, we might, Mark. Dumpster diving sounds like a good analogy. Patrick Smith, Steelers could have had Joe Milton for a 3rd pick. Joe Milton doesn't excite me, Patrick Smith. I'm sorry. He just does not excite me, my friend. Hey, I know a guy named Patrick Smith from Delaware. Are you that Patrick Smith, maybe? If you are, put it in the chat. Guy I knew from Camden, Delaware. Mel Mills. If anything, Rodgers' influence here may have been that he didn't want to deal with Pickens. Possibly, and that's what I am worried about. If that is something that, Aaron Rodgers is calling the shots, I would really, I would not like that. All right, guys, let's go down. I'm going to give some other people in the chat. I've read some people several times, so I'm going to give some other people that I haven't read yet a chance and an opportunity to jump in the conversation here on a special midday edition here for Steel City Live, only on Mic Drop Sports. I'm your host, Jason. As always, make sure you're diving in with us each and every day, and don't forget to join us tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for another edition, our regularly scheduled edition of Steel City Live. We will be back tonight with that. We're going to continue through talking George Pickens trade, talking Steelers here on the midday. And if you're not subscribed, I don't know what the hell you're waiting for, man. Join us here at Mic Drop Sports each and every single day to come for some great conversation. We're going to be switching our streaming platform. We'll still be on YouTube, but we're going to be back into a more professional setup. So look forward to that. Also, memberships are 99 cents. Super chats are always open, and those are excellent ways to support our work here at Mic Drop Sports. Black and gold, yeah, but Sanders won it with Peyton. Good to see you, Black and Gold. G Stacks, GP wasn't Omar Khan's draft pick anyway. Omar wants Pittsburgh Steelers DNA players. That's from G Stacks. Stephen Carpenter, get Cooper. That could be something. Amari Cooper, though, another guy that has attitude issues, so that could be a problem. Jamal, we picked up DK Metcalf. He spazzes out too. Not like that, Jamal. I understand what you're saying, but he not to the extent of George Pickens. People don't have to question his work ethic. People don't question his ability to play for the team. That's never been a question in DK Metcalf's career. So they're not similar player in talking about crashing out and spazzing out. Cowboys got Joe Milton and George Pickens for a bag of chips. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Third round pick isn't a bag of chips. That's a high value pick. Nathan McDonald, I just can't get in good conscience go to any games in the near future and give this front office my money. Guys, don't have your crash outs just yet, man. Relax. Allow this thing to work out, guys. I'm telling you, I'm fair warning you. I've had so many comments today, not from Nathan, but from 1,000,001 other people, man, all through different content that I've done. Content other places. I've had people say they're not watching the team no more. They're done with this team. But I hear that every time the Steelers make a move. I'm telling you. Guys, I hear it every time. I hear I'm not giving this team my money. I'm not doing any more Steelers stuff. I'm not watching Steelers. I'm not going to the games. I hear that every time they make a move. I don't care if they love the move or not. I hear somebody say it every time. DMB, good they can deal with Pickens like Dez or Elliott. Steelers don't want that trash. I don't think he's trash. Joe Vlogs, hopefully Tomlin is next. Aaron Derrick, after the draft, I felt like we took a big step forward. Now we get rid of our number 2. Now that I know about him more than likely holding out and more, I'm more at peace with it. So what's the plan for Pittsburgh? Guys, we talked about it also over on the one of the initial reactions we did this morning over on Steelers Almighty with Big B. When I was talking to him, Big B brought up this, and I thought it was a good point. He did the numbers. He crunched the numbers, and George Pickens couldn't afford to sit out, guys. He hasn't made enough money in his NFL career. He would lose as much money as he's made in his NFL career, if I remember how he said it correctly. Then he would have, what he earned in the front half so far for his first 3 years, he would lose that here in year 4 if he were to sit out. So again, George probably wasn't going to be able to sit out or be a hold in and lose money like that. But maybe just being a hold in wouldn't have mattered. You're at camp, you're there, you'll be back for the games. Who cares? I don't think hold ins really it is what it is. DJ Thomas, truthfully, if anybody don't seem like a 3+ year guy, trade him or cut him, build up more draft picks and empty spots. Draft is in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh can take off and control the whole draft. We hope. They got 12 picks, guys. 3 third-round picks. That's a lot. of day 2 picks to have, man. You're going to have 1 in round 1, 1 in round 2, and 3 in round 3. Now, they probably trade one of those picks by then, but man, that's a lot of high value draft capital. I say they should hold on to that first, second, and or 3/3 because I, again, think you could really make some exciting things happen with that and potentially build this roster into really a juggernaut. But again, I like how they've handled this roster this offseason. I think it's a good roster. I think it's better in 2025 or 2024. Quarterback shaky just because you don't know exactly what you got right now in Will Howard. And Mason Rudolph is a guy that's going to come in, win you games, but probably not going to get you to the Super Bowl. JD, you can make all the acrobatic, insane catches that you want as a wide receiver, but your numbers are your numbers no matter how you got the ball. Amen. True. And that is it. That is the truth. Absolutely, JD. Jamie D. GP must have been a real problem to get traded. Trust the management of the Steelers. See you, Georgie. Yeah, guys, we do have to put a little bit of faith into Omar Khan. He is the general manager. He is ultimately responsible for all the transactions. So definitely we need to put a little faith into that front office. And I know people, every time a move isn't done the way they want it as a fan, they're going to crash, they're going to flip, they're going to spaz, they're going to be nuts. I get that. And everybody's entitled to that. But after the initial smoke settles and the dust clears, and you've had a chance to let it get through you, you got that pissed off feeling out of your body, let the reality and let all the factors come into play in your head. Come to Mike Drop Sports. We'll talk through it. We'll talk you down, baby. We'll talk you down. And we'll get you back on track because this team definitely has a plan. Robert Road in a house. I never thought the Steelers would keep Pickens. I really did, Robert. I thought they would, but hey, they didn't. Good to see you, man. Adam O'Neill, why is Tomlin not fired? You never respond to this. I always respond to it. I don't know why he's not fucking fired, dude. I'm not Art Rooney. I don't run the fucking Steelers at him. Jeez, dude. You get a flag, bro. Don't come at me like that. Damn. You never answer me. I knew it. Blah, 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 blah. You sound like a little girl, like a baby, bro. Man up. Put your big girl panties on, bro. Damn. Whoo. I've been talking too long today to hear that kind of bullshit. Don't come at me with that. I knew it. Why isn't Tomlin fired? Because the Steelers don't fire coaches, moron. Damn, bro. Probably lost you as a subscriber, but I don't care. Robert Road, this was a good trade. The Steelers got a third for 2026 instead of a third or fourth round comp pick in 2027. Yeah, true. I mean, they did get a third. There's nothing wrong with a third, man. No, Joe, I am not a Tomlin apologist by any means. But I don't know why they keep Mike. I don't know. I don't work for the Steelers. And people can give you all their opinions they want, but they're just that. Opinions. My opinion is this. They're a loyal to a fault franchise. They are overly loyal. That's just what it is. It is what it is. Man, Adam made me crash out. You made me go nuts. You made me spaz, bro. I knew it. I should screenshot that section of comments right there and put that as the poster for how not to act as a fan in the comment section of your shows that you watch, how not to get your comment answered. But I should have just let it go and not even answered it. Sorry, guys. DJ Will Howard won a Big 12 championship before he won a national championship with Ohio State. It's hard to overlook that. It is true. I have high hopes for Will. When you compare both of their numbers, DK's and GP's, 2023, GP 1140 and 5 TDs, his 2024 season. Yeah, I mean, comparable, I guess. Yeah. But DK's been doing it for a long time, man. So I'm definitely more comfortable with DK. I see what you're saying, Aaron. Black and Gold, we still have time to get more depth at wide receiver. Deadline, cuts, trades by deadline. I'm satisfied with the direction we're going. I'm more concerned with how Arthur Smith will run this season's playbook. Yeah, and that has to be a concern until you see real change and real drastic change inside of the schematics of the Pittsburgh Steelers. No doubt about that. We have to utilize the middle of the field. They have to get people more involved in terms of their playmakers, getting them in space, allowing things to work. But if you bring in a guy like Will Howard, just say, for instance, a guy that's big, can extend plays, get outside of the pocket, do those types of things. You need to start practicing that type of stuff early. Why? Because you got to play backyard football with a guy like that. A guy like Big Ben used to be. A guy that your routes have to have a lot of combination to them. They just can't be straight. This is the route you're running off the route tree, run it. No, they have to be combination type routes. They have to be routes, choice routes. And also, you have to be able to play the scramble drill. You have to be able to play that. The play broke down, and you got to move, and you got to flow with the quarterback. You got to sit down in the open areas. You can't overextend yourself a little bit. You got to be able to find those holes and sit down in them and allow the quarterback time to get to you and find you. There's a lot of things that go into that. But also, the Steelers in their offense, Arthur Smith may give, a couple plays. I'm not sure how he calls his offense, but you need to get up there, and as a quarterback, you need to have 5 or 6 plays in your sequence. How an offensive coordinator needs to call an offense is he gives you a grouping of plays. So on your name band or on your armband, there's a group of plays, sections. So he's giving you a group, a play call group that he is sending into the huddle. You look at that grouping, and you now have options there available, 5 to 6 different plays that you can check into and out to. So you're calling that original generic formation. You're calling that original set in the huddle. That's what you're getting into. Now, once you get to the line of scrimmage, your quarterback has to have enough knowledge and processing ability to be able to get up to the line of scrimmage and now be able to check in and out of the actual play calls to dictate how best to attack that defense. Where are the one-on-one matchups? Where are they playing press man? Where are they playing zone? Where are they playing off of our wide receivers? How about that defensive front? Is it a loaded defensive front? Is it something that we potentially could run into? I can now, I may be in the shotgun, but I could squeeze it down and bring everybody in once I see that defensive front, and I could squeeze everybody in and get back into a run set, a heavier run set if I want to. There's a lot of different things you could do, a lot. But that's how that needs to be. And do you have enough comfort in a rookie to do that? Because I believe unless you have that type of comfort in Will Howard, I don't think he's going to succeed, because I think he needs to play that backyard brand of football for at least the first few years of his NFL career in order for him to be successful. All right, guys, I'm going to get off here. I'm done answering questions and stuff. I apologize if I didn't get to yours. Come back tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come ready to get your memberships. They're 99 cents a month. Always be 99 cents a month. You can come with super chats. There's other ways to support the channel inside of our bio on our channel page. Make sure you are sharing, liking, and subscribing to the show. Again, we only got a few more of these episodes here, probably another week or two of being on here on the Shorts live feed vertical presentation as we are transitioning over to a different way to stream onto YouTube. So we'll see. Hopefully you all enjoy it. And again, continue to pray for me. I still have something big in the works. I'm just trying to wait for some word back, but pray for me that it works out. Man, it would be fun for the channel. We just got to pray. I don't want to jinx it, but we got to pray. All right, guys. I'll see you tonight. I'm Jason. This is Mike Drop Sports. Peace, my friend.